Yes. Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on agenda items only at this time, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Your name, please.
Good evening. I'm Captain Earl Graves from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, Superior Officers Association, Fraternal Order Police Lodge 205. I would just like to thank the Freeholder Board for taking our contract agreement under consideration at such short notice. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you again for your comments. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak on agenda items only at this time? Please state your name and affiliation for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Cassandra Dock, P.O. Box 25331, North. Resolution 1 and Resolution 4. Just want to get an idea, what's the agreement? It says a memorandum of agreement. I'd like to know, what's the agreement? What are you guys agreeing to? Resolution 27. Who is the ombudsman now? What services will this person be providing that costs almost $6 million? And the senior program. I see, why is the senior program in Weequahic Park being delayed? If somebody is here tonight from the senior program, maybe they can speak on that and let me know. Okay?
Okay, thank you. And as always, if you stay in the meeting, you'll hear, because we're voting and discussing each one of these items, so you will be able to hear some of the questions that you asked through the discussion of the board.
Okay, so at that meeting,
at this meeting tonight.
Right, at this meeting, is that an opportunity for us to engage? Or
Not while the discussion is going on with the board, but at the end of the meeting, we'll open the floor up for questions or comments after the agenda. Okay, do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak?
Good evening, Donna Jackson, North resident. Resolution 6. I'm here this evening with the dental school and am very concerned to know who's getting additional funds from this $146,000. We have had some very serious issues with our training programs, their placement rates, etc. I want to make sure that it's justified. I know the young lady from the dental school is having a tremendous time collecting funds. Clients are being sanctioned improperly, although their workplace and their work timesheets are in order. I just want to make sure that this process is fair. I'm going to ask for a very serious consideration when you guys get to item number 6, because we've been discussing the contracts for service with this county with employment and training for some years now, and no changes have been made, and people are not going to work at the rate folks are claiming. If you're doing a CNA training at a facility, if you're going for diploma, etc., working at McDonald's is not a job placement for someone who is doing something in a specific field, and I think we need to monitor better who we're giving our money to. And also, Resolution 11. Going to ask that you hold it, because there are a number of children who are coming through our juvenile justice system, which I believe is headed by Mr. Fisher, if I'm not mistaken. We had another young man killed on Monday in North. Weequahic High School student 15. The Essex County Prosecutor's Office has arrested the perpetrator in that. However, the 15-year-old that murdered the 3 young people on Christmas Day needs some intervention from this county, and he's not getting it. The people who are coming through the juvenile court, when I see services for child and early intervention, the county of Essex is not doing that. I'm asking this Freeholder Board, there is no discussion. I'm asking you to hold Resolution 11. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm standing here in strong opposition to us taking any more dollars for intervention with our children, and we are not giving the services. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you stayed throughout the meeting, you will hear what those items are, and the answers probably would be answered. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Anyone else from the audience who would like to speak? No. No. You have the opportunity to make it at the end of the meeting. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak at this time? If not, Madam Clerk, we'll continue with the agenda. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on, at this time, on any issue? You may come to the microphone and speak on any issue at this time.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Bryant. I'm the Director of Quality Dental School Technology, and I have several issues concerning dealing with the 50 South Clinton. And I don't know if this is the proper time to speak about it, but there's several issues in concern. As a citizen and also a registered voter and also a high school graduate from the city of Newark, I feel as though that the school should have some better type of treatment concerning placing people on jobs and dealing with the fact that a lot of the e-time that we put in, all that stuff is erased the next day. As people are being sanctioned, bus tickets are not given to people. A lot of things is going on in just about every department up at 50 South Clinton.
Okay, very good. As you know, we don't respond while you're at the mic, but your questions that you raised we will respond to you in writing. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to speak on any issue? Please come to the microphone.
Once again, Cassandra Dock, P.O. Box 25331, Newark. I wish we had waited a little later to congratulate the Consumer Bowl from Irvington. I wish everybody would have had an opportunity to see them. I don't think all of you were here, Ms. Watson. I saw you coming in as they were going out, so you didn't get an opportunity to congratulate them, but they did such a wonderful job, and they competed against some other towns that we probably thought they would never win against, but they did. Also, just want to piggyback off what Ms. Jackson said, and the owner of Quality Dental School as well. We have to really, and we've been coming here, as Donna said, for probably some years now, talking about the services in terms of the vendors, particularly Quality Dental School. It seems like it's personal. Why with her, and she's been here several times, why when it comes to her school, do we have to withhold her money? I think you need to have a conversation with Mr. Mumford to ask him, do he have something personally against her? That he don't even want to send her students. He limits the amount of students that go to her school. He don't even want to promote her school. I think it's a shame because, like she said, she's from this community. And then I'm going to add that she's a black woman with a school, just as qualified, probably more qualified than what, I'm going to say she is more qualified than what that Drake is doing. But yet we'll send students to Drake. We'll let them accumulate all these, loans. We don't monitor that. We do nothing with that. But yet we won't even help this woman who has a quality school. And we have a lot of, because that county is good for telling somebody to go get the CNA. They don't want nobody in this community to do nothing other than become a CNA, going to the hospital, which is nothing wrong with that. But why do Ms. Steinbeck's office continue, and I believe it's her office, continue to promote that? We got to do better. I know, Bilal, you're not interested, but you got to do better. Better. And then let me talk about the county. Now, I don't know why Essex County did not participate in that conference over in Jersey City, the reentry conference that was held by former Governor McGreevey, the current governor, and a host of other people. State parole was there, prosecutors was there, the federal level was there. The federal level was there. A lot of things were talked about in terms of reentries, this whole ex-offender population. Why did Essex participate?
Okay,
I don't understand.
Excuse me, Ms.
I got 25 seconds. I'm looking at watching.
Wait, let me say
I'm
what
sorry,
I'm
Ms.
saying.
Watson.
I'm saying I'm giving you a chance to sum up because you have the seconds to sum up.
Yeah, I'm watching it. You
Okay.
just took away
Everybody
25
don't
seconds.
watch it.
I am.
So that's
I'm
my
used to
job
this.
to
I've
keep
been
you
here. So
continue.
let me talk about that county. Hudson County, I got like 3 more seconds, Ms. Watson. Hudson County has a division within their county jail that helps those inmates while they're in there. I think you need to take a look at that That we don't even allow our inmates to read. They have no books. They have nothing. Get down to that jail, freeholders. Get down there and start trying to help them. Stop talking about you want to help them, because you really don't. Because you will look at what Hudson County is doing and you will duplicate it.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
And you will receive, your questions will be answered as always when you come before the mic.
Yes.
Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak on any issue at this time?
Freeholders, I would like to just correct my previous asking you to hold the money. I've just been told by the staff here that that program is for 0 to 3-year-old. And intervention is seriously needed, so I withdraw my plea in asking you to hold off on that money, because I did think it was for older children. Let me also throw in Resolution 26 while I'm standing here, where you're paving at. The streets in Essex County from 2 years ago, when we talked about paving Nye Avenue, Clinton Avenue, Tremont Avenue for the very first time, that never happened. And those dollars were already allocated. I'm getting ready to submit my bills to the county for how many tire rides, wheel alignments I've had to do, because I travel Tremont Avenue and Clinton Avenue and Nye Avenue quite frequently, and those roads are atrocious, particularly when you get to the Irvington borderline. I think that the county, and I'm going to say it, has something against Irvington. It's like you pave north all the way up to Irvington Center. The truck stops for some reason, goes up to the high school and begins again at Stuyvesant and gets that little bit of Irvington all the way up around up into Maplewood. The paving on Nye Avenue happens the exact same way. You do Newark up into Slicks Club, you stop at Slicks Club, matter of fact, before the railroad track, they go all the way down Nye Avenue, they go past the center, and then they start paving again. I don't understand. If there's a beef, I don't have nothing to do with that. These roads need to be paved properly. Irvington County roads in particular are horrible. I know we had a hard winter, don't want to hear the excuses. Another $2 million, but we never did the first $2 million worth of paving. Because I've been watching since I stood at this freeholder meeting and you told me that those streets were going to be paved. It never ever happened. People are blogging and Facebooking the county exec. He's saying it's been done. It has not. We have produced pictures. Lastly, I want to stand this evening again, as I reiterated, but I went to the dental school. And this woman has a radiology program. She has the dental school. She also has a CNA program. If this county board does not know that Drake is not certified, then you better do your homework. Drake does not have a certified program. When you send a client there, they charge the client $5,000. They then make the client go get an additional $15,000 in student loans. Because Drake is the only school in the country that gives students a check. They give them $375 every 2 weeks. But what the clients don't know is they're paying them. Yes, ma'am.
You need to sum up, and
yes,
then
ma'am.
you have
They're paying them with their own student loan money. Now we need to really get it together. This is a black thing in terms of this dental school not being paid. You did the disparity report. You guys have done nothing, and this needs to be corrected. These other vendors do not have problems getting paid. Now, I know that in closing, this young lady has her timesheets with her. She has her placement records with her for the last 7 years, from 2009 to current. And this county needs to make it right with her. It is not fair, in my closing statement, that this woman has had to let go all of her instructional staff, doctors certified to give the dental program, because the county's not paying. You need to get this woman her money.
Okay,
you need to go to that school.
your time is up. And again, thank you for your comments. As usual, we will respond to all of your comments. We're closing. We have someone else from the public? Very good. You will receive a response. And if you stay at the meeting, some of your questions may be answered during the discussion of the board with the administration. Your name and affiliation for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Derek Ford. I'm also a resident of Newark, New Jersey, born and grew up here. My mom is Dr. Joyce Bryant, and also the CEO of Quality Dental School of Technology. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to speak about the payment arrangement, which is something that has been a big deal for the school. Recently, Quality Dental have submitted an RFP, and the main question that we have at hand is how can the school be equally evaluated based off of the problems we have with the e-time, the lack of communication and professionalism from the officials, and also our job placement, which has not been credited, and these students are working on jobs till this day. So on a personal note, I actually lost a semester of school based off of the delay in payment, which is a pretty big deal because Quality Dental is a viable school who provides high quality education to people, place people on jobs, and they are still working. Being that they're certified, these students can go anywhere in the country and work. That's why I don't understand the issue. And basically, it kind of hinders students from reaching their full potential, or anyone who just wants to improve the quality of their life because of a simple delay in payment. So thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you for your time.
And thank you again for your comments. At the end of the meeting, the board goes into response for any questions, any comments from the audience at the end of the meeting, and also we will respond to each individual that appeared before the board this evening in writing. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak at this time? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's continue with the agenda. Are there any topics of discussion? Okay, we will take resolutions 1 through 5. They're all memorandum of agreements between the County of Essex and Essex County Correction Officers. We'll read it into the record at a later time. And Ralph, we'll start with Resolution 1. You'll start explaining Resolution 1 and go to Resolution 5. That would be inclusive of all of the contracts between the unions and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Resolution 1 is the agreement between the County of Essex and the International Brotherhood Electrical Workers, formerly known as Local 1158. This agreement is for 2014 through December 31st, 2017. Ms. Dolores Capitola will highlight the special features of these agreements, but all in all, they're all pretty much the same pattern in terms of settlements with our collective bargaining units, whether it be the PBAs or other members of either the CWA or IBW. It's 2% for each year, basically. In resolution number 2, it's agreement between the county as well and the County Sheriff Officers Association, PBA, Local 183. Again, it's a 4-year agreement, 2% for each of the years. Resolution number 3, the agreement with the county and the county prosecutor's office. This is for the prosecutors and investigators, PBA Local 325. Again, the same 4-year contract, same 2-year increase every year. Resolution number 4, agreement between the County of Essex and the Essex County Correctional Officers Association, PBA Local 382. Again, 4-year agreement, 2% each year. Resolution number 5, County Council Memorandum of Agreement between the County of Essex as well as the County Prosecutor Superior Officers, FOP Lodge 205, 4-year agreement, 2% each year. If I can call Ms. Capitola up to highlight any of the other portions of the agreements.
Okay. Ms. Capitola, your name for the record and your affiliation.
Dolores Capitola, Office of the County Council. We have 5 agreements tonight. The first one is with the civilian group, the IBW. The difference is their wages start June 1st as opposed to January 1st for the police groups. In terms of unique features, what we've done, and I'll just highlight them, the earned time. We haven't given them additional time, but we're now allowing employees to take off half days, quarter days, 3/4 days, and that makes it easier to schedule. For example, if somebody has a doctor's appointment, it makes the flow of the work a lot easier for management. We've modified some of the performance evaluation forms to make it, again, a little easier to manage. This is for the merit pay program. For the second agreement, that's PBA 183, we've put language in that new employees are not eligible to enroll in traditional coverage, which will save the county money. That's the most expensive plan. Number 3, the investigators, again, they're not eligible for traditional coverage for new employees. Again, that's a cost-saving measure. And we've set up a procedure for scheduling vacation time. It's not an increase in vacation, but simply a way to make it easier to administer so employees can get what they want and we can still cover the office needs. Contract number 4 is with PBA 382. Again, they're not eligible, new employees are not eligible for traditional coverage, again, a cost-saving measure. And we've done a few changes with their language provisions. Currently, employees at the jail, which is a huge facility, are allowed to take 2 15-minute breaks and a half-hour lunch, and that really isn't enough time to sort of walk and have a lunch or even to have a break. So we've combined the 2 breaks and the half-hour lunch, and there's 1 break now, a 1-hour lunch period, and that works better for scheduling, and it also allows the employees to have a little bit of time to relax during the workday. Item number 5 is with the prosecutors' SOA. Again, new employees are not eligible for traditional coverage, and we've also established a more easier to run procedure for scheduling vacation time.
Very good. We'll ask Mr. Polavecchio first, and then I'll go to Mr. McInerney.
Thank you, Ms. Capitola. When we talked about this last week, I think the start date for 11/58 was different than some of the other...
Yes, it's June 1st.
Okay, and the other dates are January 1?
Yes, and those are because those are police contracts, and the civilian contracts are...
And is there any significance in the difference between the June start date and the January start date in terms of fiscal impact or any other impact?
Oh, sure. It saves 5 months of retro.
Right.
So that's a budget concern.
Perfect, thank you.
That's it?
That was it.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
Yes, one of the statements you made was that there was a change in a form that would be used for merit pay, and which of these contracts or what employees that are party to these contracts that are getting 2% are you saying there's also a possibility that somebody could get a merit increase as well?
What I'm saying is that there's an increment program that's based on merit in the civilian contracts, again, unlike the police contract. So that's in reference to contract number 1.
Right.
And there are procedures in addition to the employer meeting with the employee on a yearly basis and putting criteria
Right.
that they're to meet. There are also what we call preliminary requirements, and that deals with how many times you can be absent or late. And if you're out too many times, you won't even get to step 2 to get an increment.
Okay, so on the uniform contracts where there's typically steps involved that both the officer at the officer level as well as the first step on up, if there are issues that can prevent somebody from making that jump from first step to second step or second step and third or beyond.
That's a little, again, because they're police groups, it's a little more difficult. So
Right.
there isn't what we would call an evaluation. They might be evaluated anyway, but in terms of the merit, they're allowed to be denied an increment once, and it's a pretty strict criteria to do that.
Okay.
So there is a difference between the non-police and the police merit.
Okay.
Or step increments, whatever you want to call them.
Okay, so step increments are step increments. They're contractual. They're not, I wouldn't call them merit then. Is that correct?
Well, it's whether they're based on merit. So when you have IBW, you have the steps, but there's a more difficult hurdle to get over to get paid.
Okay, but the increment in the civilian contract is contractual, correct?
In both
Subject
cases,
to,
in both cases, it's contractual.
right, okay,
In all
but,
cases.
okay, but are you saying in a civilian contract, or in a uniform contract, it's more difficult to inhibit an increase, like in steps, if we can call it that, than it would be in a civilian contract?
It is, because up to this point, contracts have gone to interest arbitration,
Right.
and there basically are more protections.
Okay,
to the
fair
police.
enough,
So
okay.
that's the,
But when you say merit, because we've ran across this with the prosecutor's office, and they have a little more flexibility with their APs, so we're not talking about arbitrary merit. We're talking about a contractual obligation however, subject to review.
Certain requirements.
Right,
Correct.
okay, but it is contractual, it's in the
Yes.
contract. Nobody says, I'm going to give you 5,000 rather than
No,
the
no,
income.
no,
Right,
no, it's
okay,
all set in the
I just wanted to make that clear for, for the record, because merit pay has different meanings with different employment groups. Okay, that said, I think, the other side of this is that there has been no interest arbitration to get to this point, and for the next 4 years, at least until this contract starts to get negotiated again at these different union levels, we can look forward to not seeing arbitration for the next 3 years at least, which historically has cost the county a significant amount of legal fees. So these increases are within the cap. They are, as I would think, good increases. There's nothing else that we're giving up. I guess we would have to assume that the inability to get into the traditional insurance plan is because the traditional insurance plan is it's significantly costly for the county, and I'm assuming that's the reason why it is now excluded from new hires.
That's correct.
Because of the cost. Other than that, there's really very little other elements of the terms of the contracts that have been changed, and it's just a 2% increase, basically.
Okay, we'll start questioning from the Freeholder Vice President
Thank
Sebo.
you, Ms. Capitola. You indicated that there's going to be a change in the break. There won't be the small individual breaks, there will be a 1-hour break. Does that pertain to all 5?
Correction.
No, because everybody has different lunch periods. The problem at the jail is the size of the facility. So if you work here, you could go down to the cafeteria and get a cup of coffee and be back in 15 minutes. There at the jail, you have to walk maybe 10 minutes to get to a cafeteria. So it just doesn't work because you have to arrange coverage for 15 minutes, and you can't do it.
I understand that, but there are 5 items that we are approving. Does that apply only to some of them?
Only to the jail. That's the only place where it's been an issue.
Okay.
That was a management request that we combine it.
So that is number...
And it's not,
4.
that language is not in any of the other contracts before you.
Is that for number 4, item number 4?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that answers my question. Thank you.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Through you, Madam President, in resolution number 4 dealing with the corrections officers, I mean, I remember back in March of this year, I think we all got countless number of emails regarding the 2% increase, and the concern was about a freeze. And then on the 18th of March, I called the county exec, who actually took my phone call. I love Ralph, but he decided to speak himself, and he said that he had them all, he had all the unions at the table, and they were discussing that. So I'm glad that, sometimes there's not a common ground between administrations and unions, but I was glad that this time we managed to get everybody at the table and come to some sort of agreeable solution. Now, I understand that from 2014 to 2017, which is the contract period for the corrections officers, 2% increase.
Yes.
There's going to be an increase total of $7.5 million because of that. Now, how are we covering for that? Are we expanding their budget, or are we cutting back on something?
Through Madam President, we've already met with all division directors as well as constitutionals, as we have instructed everyone that the 2% increase, that their budgets will be hit next year, that they're required to come in flat and find ways within their department to absorb that 2% increase.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Freeholder Owens.
Ms. Coca-Cola, I wanted to make sure I had your name correct.
Capitola.
Capitola, okay. If I understood you correctly, you said that there was 5 months retroactive pay, or how'd that go?
With the non-police groups, and before you, number 1 is a non-police group, there's, rather than January 1st, the 2% becomes effective June 1st. So there's a 5-month lag the first year, but it goes into base. So effective the second year, it's gets rolled into the base. So it saves the county 5 months of retro payments, but it doesn't affect the base.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have any additional questions, comments while we have Ms. Capitola at the mic? No additional questions or comments. Thank you, Ms. Capitola.
Thank you.
This is a conference board meeting this evening. I would like the audience to understand that we will be voting on every item that's coming before the board this evening. Madam Clerk, we will take resolutions 1 through 5. Do I have a motion and a second to take 1 through 5 together? It's moved by Freeholder Vice President Siebold and second by Freeholder Owens. No further discussion. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we will discuss, you can read 6 and 7 into the record, and Ralph, you will explain 6 and 7 before I ask for comments from the board.
Resolution number 4, Economic Development Training and Employment, Division of Training and Employment, contract amendments with 5 sub-recipients for additional welfare to work services, August 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014. Additional amount not to exceed $146,500 grant funding. Resolution number 7, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of Community Health Services, approval of contract extension for the 2013 State of New Jersey Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse Municipal Alliance Grant, extension period January 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2014. Additional amount not to exceed $381,645 grant funding.
Very good. Mr. Scialla?
Yes, Madam President. Basically, what we're doing here, there's $146,000 of revenue that is going to be redistributed. It has to be a body and seat rule by June 30th. The participants continue on in the program till later part of this year. However, the groups that will be receiving additional funding will be Aspira for job search. They will receive an additional $14,400. La Casa for TANF ABE, it's an additional 10 slots for $17,600. The National Career Institute for TANF Clinical Medical Office Skills, $23,850. Program for Parents, an additional 30 slots for $71,550. The Urban League, an additional 40 slots for $19,200. Which makes up the $146,600 of funds. Resolution 7, there's basically 19 municipalities that are participating in the consortium. There are 2 towns that joined up as one, Caldwell and West Caldwell. As you know, this is the Alcohol Drug Abuse Municipal Alliance Program. In your packet, you will have a copy of 2 letters, one from Newark, and this year, Essex Fells, who opted to no longer participate in the program. I know this board has had many questions in years past about Newark not participating, so we included a letter from Newark stating why they declined.
Very good. For the record, Madam Clerk, Freeholder Clark is in attendance. Let's start discussion on 6. Mr. McInerney, question, comments? Mr. Polyvecchio?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, board members, let's go to Resolution 6. Rav, could you explain, this dollar amount is in addition to what we have for all of our welfare to work services, or is this just an additional dollar amount?
These are dollars that are additional for welfare to work services. However, they're also tied back to specific areas. As you notice, 2 of them are in the job search area. There's another area for ABE or GED, basically education. So those funds are pretty much restricted to the programs that they can be funded for.
Okay. Just a quick question. I just want to follow up. And I think we've had sessions on this before when we have clients come in and we are sending them to different agencies. I think it was my understanding, I need you to clarify that for the record, because we have individuals that's questioning, how do the agencies receive the clients?
Madam President, there are two possible ways that a service provider could receive clients. A lot of our contracts are what we call classroom contracts, job search, GED. There are some vocational skills programs that we refer the TANF clients directly to the vendor. Majority of the contracts that I think one of the speakers spoke of, Drake, that particular program is a self-direct program. For example, a client would come to us and say they are interested in a truck driving school. Well, the counselor says, well, here's a list of state-approved vendors. Select the one that you're interested in going to. So it's a self-select process that the client selects whether they want to go to ABC truck driving school or BDF truck driving school. We do not contract with the school. We basically contract as an individual referral contract for that student, and it's capped at, I think, about $4,000, thereabouts. So we do not directly contract unless that school is certified by the state of New Jersey and it's a client who wishes to attend that school. So those are the two areas that our clients end up at various locations.
Okay, and I'm asking these questions for clarification. If I'm a client and I come in and I don't know where I want to go, who assists that client in making the selection of what may be in their best interest? Or would we have individuals from each agency to come talk with those clients, or do we have a session for clients who don't know what they would want to do or what training they wanted to receive?
Well, as you know, the amount of training dollars that we have, that there is discretion. And what I mean by discretion is establishing a classroom size class and recruiting and sending that classroom size to a vendor is limited. Majority of the state funds have been minimized for vocational training. The majority of those dollars where we direct clients to agencies are very limited. Majority of those funds are spent on quick fixes by the state and the federal government, known as job search, GED, ESL. So there's very limited opportunities. We do have at 50 South Clinton laboratories, we do have computers, we have research materials where the client can go online, research a school, find out if that school is a fit for them, and then they will then make that selection or that decision. So when you talk about vocational schools, the majority of the vocational training dollars that this county spends are on individual referrals, and those are all self-select by the candidate or by the customer. I hope that answers your question.
Right. Freeholder Bobadilla.
First off, I just want to say that, looking at this resolution, I was glad to see the diverse and broad spectrum of the providers, because I think they represent a lot of services that we need. And one of the things that I really was glad to see was that almost a third of the funds went for programs for parents, because as you know, childcare, especially in an urban environment, is a significant barrier at times into welfare clients getting out there and doing what they need to do and finding employment. So I just want to say that, I'm glad that these additional funds, more than almost a third of them were dedicated towards that cause.
I should point out, Madam President, that the program for parents are actually receiving for 3 different program areas. So those 30 additional slots are broken out for a teacher assistant program, hospitality hotel program, and a computer office program. So they're receiving a bulk of the funding of $71,000, but they're in 3 distinct program areas.
Okay, additional questions, comments, freeholders? Freeholder Clark?
Do we know, well, do we have an idea of what the original amounts were?
Sure.
The 6 programs that are receiving extra? And the other question, even more so importantly than the original amounts, Ralph, were there any other programs vying for these additional dollars, or this is just basically the way the split went because these are the only ones that were really vying for the additional dollars?
2 parts to your question. One, yes, in your package, you do have a matrix that shows the original contract amount that each vendor received, the original slot level, the amended slot level, the new slot level, as well as the new total. How these agencies were selected, that's a very good discussion point for our workforce committee meeting coming up 24th. But I'm sure there was a criteria, a selection process.
It was what?
I'm sure there was a selection process for areas of funding because, as you know, many of the agencies do not offer job search. Some of the agencies offer ESL, they don't offer GED. So it's a fit of who has a space, who has availability, and who provides that service would go into that decision-making process.
Okay, and just as an aside, before we leave tonight, there's a particular issue that I wanted to...
We did talk about that at the public comment section.
Oh, it was discussed already?
Yeah, it was brought up in the public comment session. We, as usual, we never respond back to the person at the mic, but we agreed that we will send an explanation response like we always do in writing.
What I'm actually asking is like a sidebar at the conclusion, because I think that will get to the crux of the matter very quickly.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Do we have any other comments or questions at this time? And we on Resolution 6. Resolution 7. And Ralph, thank you for putting the letters in the package, because we, as always, we always have concerns about Newark by not taking advantage of funding that
I believe the letters are in your packet, Madam President.
I think so.
From Newark and Essex Fells.
Essex Fells and Newark.
Newark, yes.
And only 2 municipalities decided they did not want to take a part of receiving grant fundings from the county.
That is correct.
For services for alcohol and drug abuse.
That is correct.
So the city of Newark, I want to make that clear because I don't want nobody to say we avoided the city of Newark. The city of Newark opted out themselves. Am I correct?
That is correct, Madam President. And the letter is in your packet.
The letter is in the packet. Freeholder Bobadilla.
No, I think I make a comment on this resolution every time it comes before the board, because, I'm always disappointed in the fact that in a city with the largest population and dealing with some of the urban complexities that we have, Newark doesn't take the time to really address this issue when we have a lot of constituents that need help. And so I hope the new administration will reconsider this position for the next time it comes around and really presses forward to make a difference in that scope of services.
Yes, I totally agree with you, and always is my concern when we see Newark opt out of receiving funding with no match to help the citizens of Newark with these issues. I have a serious problem. Freeholder Clark.
Madam President, might I make a suggestion that since you do have a new administration poised to come in the city of Newark, perhaps a letter from the administration and a joint letter from the administration and this board to the new administration, making it kind of clear that these were dollars that were left on the table, so to speak, and that the city of Newark can certainly avail their dollars, that the city of Newark can certainly avail themselves of. I would dare say, with some of the folks who are coming in and some of the relationships that people on the Freeholder Board have with some of the incoming council people, perhaps, that communication will be shared in that way too, so that the council is being communicated with in addition to the mayor's office, because I suspect that the city's going to want to avail themselves of whatever dollars there are. There's no desire. I saw Ms. Eustine shake her head, so perhaps.
No, Freeholder.
No, okay.
I don't want you to do that.
All right.
Please. Freeholder Bobadilla.
This is a question for Ralph. Ralph, I know these funds are grant funded, right? But is there even an administrative cost that the city of Newark would have to incur as a recipient of this grant?
Well, through you, Madam President, as you know, with all grants, there's very limited admin money, and I think that's the case. I think Newark is making that to operate the program. It's not, it doesn't cost, the costs that they receive in reimbursements are not enough to actually operate the program. So I think that's Newark's position. In terms of a new administration coming in, this, as you know, is a 5-year plan. So they opted out, so I'm not certain of when this 5-year plan is up, and that's why I was checking with the director. It might be to 2018. So really, Newark has really closed the door for an extended period of time.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions, comments on Resolution 7? If not, then, did I see your hand, Freeholder Gill?
I'm sorry, no. Good, thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion and a second to take Freeholder Johnson?
Ralph, through you, Madam President. Ralph, how long is it open for if Newark wanted to get in at this point?
I think what I just said is this is part of a 5-year plan. I'm not certain when the 5-year period is up. It might be 2018. If that's the case, the next time Newark could opt in would be 2018.
Okay, additional questions, comments, Freeholder? No additional questions, no comments. I have a motion and a second to take Resolution 6 and 7 together. Freeholder Bobadilla moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Clark. No additional questions, comments. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Beasley absent. Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
We're going to take 8 and 9 together, Madam Clerk, and we'll read it into the record at a later time. Ralph, we'll start with an explanation of Resolution 8 at this time.
8 is from our Department of Health and Rehabilitation, our Division of Hospital Center. This is a 2-year affiliation agreement with John Jay College. This is for their students in the college psychology doctorate program. This is a renewal agreement. As you know, we have other affiliation agreements, and I'll just run through them real quick, with Montclair State, Kane, ACAP, Rutgers, Yeshiva, FTU, Seton Hall, and Felician.
Okay.
Resolution number 9, Office of the Sheriff Contract Award to Clearview Data Systems, the sole responsible bidder for maintenance and support for a DataWorks Photo Manager System, 24-month contract, $117,141.72. This is grant funded, and this is primarily the software and the to conduct the fingerprinting and photographs of inmates and detainees at our jail.
Okay, very good. Mr. McInerney, any questions, comments on items?
Not on this,
8
no.
or 9? None? Mr. Polyvecchio, questions, comments?
No, thank you.
No, none. Okay, freeholders, questions on Resolution 8? Freeholder Luciano?
It's not a question, but through you, Madam President, I just want to put on the record, every time I see one of these agreements, Mr. Chiella, I get excited. I think that it's very important for students all over to have the first-hand experience, and our hospital center is a tremendous place for that experience. So thank you, and thank the administration.
Very good. Additional comments or questions on 8? Resolution 9, freeholders? No additional questions or comments on resolution, no comments or questions on Resolution 9. The Chair, Madam Clerk, would take a motion and second to take 8 and 9 together. Moved by Freeholder Clark.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Luciana. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bovadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, we will take 10 through 18 together. They are all budget insertions. And Ralph, we'll start with an explanation of the budget insertion, and we'll start at 10 and go to 18. We'll take them all together.
This is a grant from the State Division of Highway Traffic Safety for their Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. It's a $4,000 grant for the Office of the Sheriff. Resolution 11 is revenue from the State of New Jersey for our Department of Health, Special Child and Early Intervention Services, for our Division of Community Health Service, roughly $1.2 million. This program is to work with early intervention services for special need children. It promotes early identification, evaluation, and treatment of children with special needs. Resolution number 12 is revenue from the State of New Jersey. This is for case management services for our Division of Community Health Service, $279,659. This is a comprehensive continuation of services to the families and children who have special needs up to the age of 21 years old. And this is a partnership between the family, the community, and the service providers of these special need children. Resolution 13, revenue from the State of New Jersey, Department of Human Services, for the Personal Assistance Service Program, $130,000. This is for oversight of the PASP program for monitoring, billing, and distribution of funds for attendance services for each of the program participants between the ages of 18 and 70. I know at our leadership meeting, Madam President, you want to know what happens to the individuals after the age of 70. Then they're referred over to our Division of Senior Services for services. Resolution number 14, revenue from the Department of Human Services. This is out of the Division of Family Development, Social Services for the Homeless, Division of Community Action, $3,618,621. These service dollars are for homeless, immediate assistance to homeless and those who are impacted by hunger and who do not have emergency assistance. Resolution number 15, revenue from the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependency, New Jersey for Substance Abuse Initiative Program. This is for our Division of Welfare, $70,000. This grant primarily covers the salary and wages of one of our family service workers assigned to the Office of Special Services. Resolution 16, revenue from the Department of Human Services, Division of Family Development. This is for our Division of Employment and Training, $11,790,011. This is for program year July 1, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. And this is for a variety of mandated welfare reform activities and services for TANF clients, case management, transportation, and transportation-related expenses. Resolution 17, revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Labor for a Division of Training and Employment for the Workforce Investment Act for dislocated workers, $2,507,134. This is for a core and intensive services job training that assists residents in acquiring vocational skills and employment. Adult, $1,134,000, and dislocated, $1,372,000. Resolution 18, revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Labor, Workforce Investment Act. This is for our youth funding, $1,142,342. Again, for core and intensive services, plus job training, so clients can acquire skills and employment.
Okay, and for the record, all 10 through 18, we will be voting to insert these items of revenue from the state. Am I correct?
That is correct. This is just the insertion.
Just the insertion, allowing us to receive the money and insert it into the budget.
That is correct.
That's what we're voting on. Okay, Mr. McInerney.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Are we going to go on, can I skip around, or
Okay.
are you just going to go on 11?
I think, let's make it easier for everybody to follow. I think that might be the best way for us to handle since we've taken so many. Let's start with Resolution 10 for question, comments, freeholders. Resolution 10. And they're all insertion of items from the state. Resolution 10, question, comments. Resolution 11, question, comments.
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. McInerney.
Just one. Question is that there's an in-kind match here that's required, but it doesn't delineate what it's for, what kind of match.
Through Madam President, if I could ask Ms. Jackie Houston to come to the mic.
Our in-kind match.
Your name again for the record. Could you adjust the mic for her, please?
Talk loud. Jim, thank you. Jackie Eustein, Director of Community Health Services. The in-kind is the provision of space, electricity, and all of those things that, and also health services.
Okay.
Okay, well, Jackie, I'm sorry, Ms. Elston, don't leave the mic. I'm gonna see if you have any questions from the board. Board members, do you have any questions from Mr. Stevens? Okay, thank you. Let's go to Resolution 12. Freeholders? No questions, no comments. Mr. McInerney, no questions or comments on 12?
Not on 12, no.
None. Freeholder,
Other than to say that
Clark.
11 and 12 pretty much are the same, are they the same program? They're just dollars coming in from different spots, or are they different?
The programs are different. The first program, Early Intervention, is for children from birth to 3.
Okay.
And that's more of a hands-on program. The children are evaluated for delayed development, and we monitor the providers and make sure that our hope is that by the age of 3, most of the children will catch up. The other program is from birth to 21, and that's a program for children with catastrophic problems. Or it could be cerebral palsy, it could be a heart defect, it could be any number of catastrophic illnesses that children get. And with that one, we help the families sort of maneuver through the various programs that are offered.
Thank you.
okay, no additional questions on 12. Let's go to 13. No questions, comments on 13? 14 freeholders, Freeholder Park.
Personal assistance services is this?
Oh, we on 14?
You, 13?
You want to go back to 13? Okay, we go back to 13.
Oh, yeah, what kind of personal assistance?
The personal assistance program is for people who need a personal assistant to come in and help them get dressed, help them get out for the day. To be eligible for the program, you have to be working, volunteering, or going to school for a minimum of 20 hours a week. And the personal assistance is the one that comes in and helps people who have serious issues.
But you have to have a developmental disability.
You have to have a developmental disability.
But you're also trying to work through it.
It allows people who have disabilities get out in the community and function.
That's good.
It is good.
Okay. Let's go to 14 freeholders. Mr. McInerney, before I ask the freeholder for comments.
The only question on 14, the administration fees associated with this grant, which is pretty sizable, $3.6 million, is roughly about 5%, or it's $172,000. Are these administrative fees adequate with regard to the size of these grants, G&A that are allowed to be charged? Because there has been some discussion from some of the organizations that this...
If I could have Maurice Brown, the director, speak on that.
Maurice Brown, Acting Director for the Division of Community Action. Yes, it is sizable, but with the amount of program monitoring that we do and making sure that the reporting is adequate, with the overseeing of the agencies that are selected, it really does take quite a yeoman's job to really do. So the 5% is what is needed.
Oh, I wasn't saying it wasn't needed. I'm saying it's tight. I'm saying just the opposite. I'm saying it appears even from some of the other grants that we give to some of our recipients, our community-based organizations, some of the issues have been that the G&A associated with these grants are rather slim. And I'm looking at this even from the county's point of view, how difficult it is to do all the things you just said on some of these very slim, margins allowed for the G&A as opposed to program services.
Understood.
Okay. So would you agree with that, or?
We're trying to negotiate with the state, but unfortunately, that's what the state allows us.
Okay. But there is an attempt, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I know for a fact that a lot of the state contracts that we receive from the federal government, a lot of them also just give an allowance of 5% to the state themselves. And so it's kind of, I think, a trickle-down margin sometimes, if you will.
Okay, additional questions, comments, Freeholder? Freeholder Clark?
Do we have a breakdown of the breakdown? By that I mean the SSH, TANF, SSBG, and state SSBG. Those dollars are going to go to, are they going to a specific providers to then dole out, or are they going to be doled out as cash
No.
awards?
Through you, Madam President, they will be, we have actually received the responses for the RFPs. We're evaluating the agencies, the vendors that would be participating and getting the reimbursements of what they put out.
That's the part that I'm, okay. Well, we have a meeting coming up anyway. So through you, Madam President, to you, Mr. Chilella, that then we should be able to, by then, know who or have an idea of who some of the agencies are that are going to actually receive these dollars to then disperse them to the citizenry or the citizens that are in need, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, in all 4 of those categories, or just in 2 or 3 of them?
All 4 of the categories.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sheldon, that information should be ready for the committee meeting for discussion.
I believe that was an agenda item. The good news is that Mr. Brown and his department, this funding, as you know, the state has opted to give us 6 months funding. They would like us to get on their fiscal year. So the good news is we're ahead of the curve. These contracts start July 1.
I was about to.
And as you know, in the past, many times the state, with the notice to proceed, or notice of obligation, is later in the year, and these agencies that provide the services are in the hole, providing services, waiting for reimbursements. This year, I think Mr. Brown should be commended for bringing this process to us early, and hopefully we'll be able to get the funds to the agencies on a more timely basis.
And Madam President, thank you, Ralph, for bringing that up, because it is clear that we are ahead of the curve, because when you said that you were now going to, but here's the other question. There's 2 types of funding. One type of funding is specifically for operations. In other words, it's specifically geared towards the operation of the program by the agency. And then there's another type of funding that is specifically geared for to get out into people's hands so that they can survive. So which one is this?
This right now, this is inclusive of everything. Their case management and the prevention services.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? Let me just, for clarity again, for my, just so that I can clearly understand. When we say that we're going on the state level contract for June, July, would that also be for agencies that's providing training? Because I think that's one of the issues or problems. We are not on the state budget.
Madam President, each state department is unique in their own way of distributing funds. As they receive it from Washington, they'll dole it down to the counties or municipalities. What we've been noticing is there's a pattern by most of the state agencies to try to get the funding cycle to coincide with their fiscal year. So most of the state agencies are trying to adopt that model. Not all are there yet, but we believe that that's the intent.
So my question is that why we have some issues with some of our vendors when they're not receiving the checks for their services on a timely basis? What would hold up if I'm doing training and I submit my bill to the county? Why is it that I would not receive the checks as I submit the bill?
I would not like to venture to give you a generic answer. I think each case is specific as to why bills aren't being reimbursed or why aren't being processed. I don't want to even venture to say missing paperwork. I don't know. Each case is different, Madam President. So I think we'll have to dive into that particular matter and see why.
So the fiscal year does not have an impact on
the only impact that vendors have is when this county receives a obligation letter from the state of New Jersey. If the contract starts July 1, and as we've seen in the past, the state in October, November provides us with a letter awarding us funding, that's an obvious. The state is slow in processing. the vendors penalized, not anything that they've done or this board has done, but the process of awarding funds from the state to the local governments. That's an inherent problem in government, unfortunately. We've tried to clean that up as much as we could. In this contract that we're speaking of now with Mr. Brown, we would normally receive the notice of obligation in October. And some of these agencies are providing services for 7, 8 months. And that is a problem that we tried to address seriously last year. And we could say that we've had success in this program.
All right. I know that was a discussion in the meeting with Freeholder Clark, and we wanted to try to get a better understanding of why is it that the agencies provide the services and then it takes so long for us to, they'll come before the board or they'll send letters to the board saying they provide the services but they're not receiving the payments. I think, Freeholder Clark, maybe in your meeting again, we just need to reiterate why, to make sure it's clear to the vendors and also to the committee members why we keep hearing, why is it that some of the vendors they're constantly advising this board that they are not receiving their payment. Okay?
Right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments, freeholders, on Resolution 14? Resolution 15? 60?
What, you said Resolution
15? Resolution 16? 17? I'm sorry, go back to 16.
16. This is our allocation for our TANF clients, is that it?
Through you, Madam President, that is correct.
This
And
is their
it is the same funding as last year.
It's the same what?
Same funding level as last year.
Mm-hmm. And these are cash benefits?
These are for mandated welfare services that include case management, transportation, and transportation-related services.
Okay.
Job search, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Freeholder Clark?
And all of these services are being provided by in-house by our Essex County Division of Welfare?
No, through you, Madam President, these are the contracts that are provided by outside vendors. Some of the services might be done by Essex County College, some may be done at our one-stop, but a majority of these funds are provided by agencies throughout Essex County.
Okay. Okay. I think that's the one this is the one I have some further questions on, but go ahead, Madam President.
Okay, freeholders, Resolution 17. Mr. McInerney, if I'm coming to one and you want to have any comments or
There's
questions?
no comments on 16 or
None?
17 from me, Madam
Okay.
President.
Resolution 17. Resolution 18. Okay, freeholders, we would take...
If I might, Madam President,
okay, Mr. McInerney?
on Resolution 18, is that...
Okay.
There was something in there that the grant is for 2 years, and it ends on June 30th, 2015, but it says the availability funds goes on to June 30th, 2016. So I was just a little confused by that. Do they actually have an extra year to spend the money? They do?
I believe on this particular contract, that's the contract parameters from the state.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? Freeholder Clark?
I'm looking at this on my screen.
Are we on 18, Freeholder Clark?
No, I'm not. Actually, I do want to go back with your permission.
Which resolution?
16.
Let's go back to 16, Freeholder.
I'm looking at it on my screen. I see an amount of $11 million. I see 3 categorical breakdowns. It talks about a link to third-party contracts. They are not in our packet. So where are they? So that we could see, I mean, am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. That's what I'm saying. Now, if I'm not, then just say, Carol, you're way off base.
Through you, Madam President, I think you're jumping the gun. Tonight, we're just putting the money into our bank account. The department is conducting an RFP evaluation, and then those vendors will be approved by this body.
In other words, we are actually on point for a change, and we're so accustomed to being behind and doing things backwards that now that it's being done correct, okay, good. So now, those third-party contracts, we will have an opportunity to review them. And so I am correct. This is the one that I am going to have some questions relative to, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. So I can just keep my powder dry and hold my horses until we get there, correct?
Absolutely, but I would also say you'd also have questions on 17.
All righty then. No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, Freeholder? None, Madam Clerk, I'll be asking for a motion.
Motion.
To take resolutions 10 through 18.
Right.
Moved by Freeholder Bobadilla. Do I have a second?
You'll get, yeah, I got it. I'll second.
Second by Freeholder. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Vice President Seabold?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Beasley absent. Freeholder President Watson?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we'll take 19 and 20 again. Madam Clerk, read it into the record at a later time. And Mr. Shiala, will you explain resolution 19 and then go to 20?
Department of Parks contract with Rutgers Cooperative Extension Services for Essex County residents, 2014, $60,000. The services that Rutgers provides for the county is agricultural, resource management, community health services, 4-H youth development, urban gardening, water quality, and aquaculture programs. They've been our partners for many years, and we do have a representative from Rutgers with us this evening.
Okay, will you have the representative come forward, please?
My name is Jan Zientek. I'm the Rutgers Cooperative Extension Department Chair for Extension in Essex County.
Okay, you want to give us a briefing on exactly what your services you will provide, what services you will provide to the county?
Cooperative Extension is involved with providing youth development programs through 4-H. We run the Master Gardener program that's involved in projects in restoration and maintenance of the trees in Branchbrook Park. We're working on Eagle Rock Reservation, restoring the meadow there. We have Master Gardeners available for youth and educational programs in gardening throughout the county. The Master Gardeners run a senior horticulture program once a month where many of the residents, seniors, are able to drop in and participate in horticultural activity. We've launched a veterans training program this year. 15 veterans are now being trained in sustainable landscape management and horticulture. We provide consultation with county parks and public works on issues of resource management, water quality. A little bit nervous. We also have health services and nutrition education programs provided by our staff.
Very good. So don't be nervous. I said, we don't want you to be McInerney, no questions on
I
this.
don't have any questions on this contract.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm very pleased that each year we renew a contract with Rutgers Cooperative Extension Program, and I'm happy that Rutgers is willing to do this with us. I also know Jan Zentuk well because he is on the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board with me, so I see him on a regular basis, and I'm very familiar with the excellent work that he does, and I'm very happy that he's here, and we're going to continue dealing with him in the future for the wonderful work that he does.
Very good. Additional, Freeholder Bobadilla.
If I heard you right, there's a new component this year with the veterans?
Yes.
Landscape? Does that also extend as far as employment opportunities for them and placement?
It's intended to be a job training program. We're focusing on helping people start their own business. So there's entrepreneurial training that we provide in the program.
Thank you.
Freeholder Gill.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a great program. I'm glad to see that we're doing this and supporting it. I just had a follow-up question. The Sustainable Landscape and Stormwater Management Job Skills Training Program. Is that program? Is that a relatively new program? And one, I know that the Brookdale Park Conservancy just did a project through that program with the East Orange Veterans Hospital, where they planted, I guess, a series of trees in.
No, that's the program.
That's the program itself. But I guess the follow-up is, it's a job training program. 1, 2, is it a new program? And 3, I mean, it's a great program. So I'm wondering, is there anything else more we can do to be, supporting its expansion?
Well, thank you. This is the Veterans Training Program began about 6 years ago, 2008. They began a gardening program at the VA hospital, and it grew into a training program for veterans there. We had some success. We were surprised, actually, with that a couple of the veterans went out and started their own landscape maintenance business. The VA paid attention to that, and they made it a more formal program. But there were issues with some of the VA, and we never received full compensation for the program, to cover the cost of the program. So we wound up moving it outside the VA. We're still associated with the VA, but we found outside funding. So right now the veterans receive a stipend while they're in this 8-month training program. So it began 6 years ago and evolved into this new project. It is a pilot. We're located at 555 MLK. We're at the community center of Metropolitan Baptist Church, right across from the Arts High School, where we were bouncing around Newark for the first couple of weeks, and this facility just opened for us last week. And at that site, we now have the classes with the veterans, and we are working on different projects in the county park system. We'll be doing restoration in the city and other communities. And one of those activities was planting 26 dogwoods at Brookdale Park. And there was also a little bit of self-service there. Rutgers Cooperative Extension nationwide is celebrating its 100th anniversary in existence, and as part of that, Rutgers provided 26 dogwoods to Brookdale Park. So it was a training program, and it was also a little bit to promote our existence for 100 years.
Continue. Freeholder Gill.
So the veterans are actually trained in that by the master guard, by the master.
No, this is Rutgers staff and faculty that are providing the training. So we have lectures, and then we supplement the lectures with hands-on activities. Some in the county parks. We've discussed with the park superintendent the installation of a youth tee at Wicklake Park. So in that case, the park's golf course superintendent would instruct the veterans, and they would have the experience of installing the golf tee. So we're looking for learning activities that complement the lectures that we've been giving.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
You know, I can't speak for my colleague, but I think that with the latest news of surrounding the VA hospital on a federal level, I can only say that I'm proud that the state university and the county at that local level is playing such a beneficial role for our veterans, because I think sometimes they don't get what they're due. So I'm glad to see that.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, freeholders on Resolution 19? Freeholder Clark?
I just want to shout out Rutgers, go RU. Class of 72.
All right. Freeholder Vice President Seaborn.
I just want to add that you now can see why we are very lucky that Mr. Zantek serves on the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board. He makes a wonderful addition.
Okay, do we have any other comments? If not, let's go to resolution. Thank you so much, sir. Let's go to resolution 20. Freeholders.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't explain
20?
this.
No, I want to read that into the, I want to explain resolution 20. The clerk will be reading into the record 19 and 20 at a later time.
Okay.
So will you explain 20?
20 is our Department of Parks contract award to the Weequahic Sports Authority to provide recreational services and activities at Weequahic Park, amount not to exceed $26,902. This is a contract from date of award through October 31st. In your packet, you'll see a list of program activities that Weequahic Park Sports Authority will be providing. We did receive 3 proposals. Weequahic Park Sports Authority received the highest score, lowest cost, and they will be receiving $5,380.40 per month.
Okay. Additional freeholders, questions, comments on 20? No questions? Freeholder Clark?
No questions or comment.
Okay. No questions, no comments?
I have a comment,
We
not a
hear the
question.
comment at this time.
Mr. Chilella, you are indeed a good egg. It has been a very, very long time coming. Doug, Mr. Wadu, it's a start. My hope is that it is just the beginning of an extraordinarily long and fruitful partnership between the Weequahic Park Sports Authority and the County of Essex. I think you have a very good partner. I can see a conservancy growing out of this that is going to make everybody that's part of it proud of it. Because I believe that the people who are at the heart of it and at the helm of it really, really, really do want to make a positive difference in the lives of the children and the people, adults, that are in that area. So to Doug, your wife, and to Mr. Wadu, congratulations. It's a small start, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. This is your first step. Make the most of it. And to Freeholder Owens, I know you've been there every step of the way with this as well, so congratulations to you too, sir.
Okay. Okay, additional comments, questions, freeholders?
Madam Chairman.
Yes, Freeholder Owens.
I agree with my colleague, Freeholder Clark, that Weequahic Park has needed a lot of work, and finally we're getting some of it put together, and I appreciate the cooperation that I get from Mr. Cielo and Ralph and Danny and some of the other persons that work in the Freeholder office and for the county that helping to put this program together. And my friend Wadu and Doug, who really have their park in the best in their heart, and they really try hard to make it a successful park. And I'm happy to be a part of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Shiala?
I would just like to add to that list of freeholders who've supported this project. Freeholder Johnson, who attends our monthly meeting, has been a strong advocate. So I just want to give kudos to Freeholder Johnson as well.
Very good.
Thank you, Val.
And I think with us setting up the meetings after discussing it, and having the monthly meetings makes a difference in understanding both the park association and also the county, because you have to have dialogue. You can't just assume things are not getting done. If you have your monthly meetings and you guys tell us what it is that you see you want us to do as a county, and then we have representative from the board and also from the administration and Danny from the park, we can get some things done. And I think that's the only way we're going to get it done. We can't get it done arguing and screaming and distrusting each other. We have to work together. And I agree with you, Freeholder Clark. Next year will be another time for you to put your bid in. And if you can prove that you're very successful, there's no telling how much you would be able to accomplish this year with what you have, and then show us what you can do if you had a larger sum of dollars to work with for your services and activities in the park. So I want to congratulate you for staying there. I know you started out coming before this board just as a district leader, but then you decided you have to do more than stand before the mic. And we want to tell you that we appreciate your time and your services that you're giving to the residents of Newark. Not only Newark, but anyone from in the whole county of Essex can come and be a part of your programs during the summer. So we want to make sure that that's very clear. Okay, and again, thank you. And your wife. You know, it's always a good woman behind a strong man.
And,
okay.
And Madam President?
Yes, Freeholder Clark.
To add to what you just said, we both know that Freeholder Johnson, see, Freeholder Owens, myself, and you, and Freeholder Beasley aren't going to be here to make sure that everything goes well. So Freeholder Johnson, it all falls on your shoulders, your very capable shoulders, to make sure that it keeps going.
Thank you.
And we know it's in good hands.
Very good. Okay, let's, we're on resolutions 19 and 20. Madam Clerk, and I need a motion to
I'll
take
move
19
it.
and 20
I'll
together.
move it.
Moved by Freeholder Vice President Seabold.
Second.
And second by Freeholder Owens. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Beasley, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla, absent. Freeholder Clark.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Owens.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, we'll take resolution 2126 together again, and we'll ask that you read it into the 21 and
326 or 21?
I say from 21 through 26.
21 to 26.
Okay, let's go 21 through 26. And you can read that into the record at a later time.
Yes.
Ralph, we'll start with your explanation, resolution 21.
Department of Parks contract award to USE Direct, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide a point-of-sale solutions for the recreation and golf management. 27-month agreement, amount not to exceed $311,356.17. We did have 32 potential bidders. 4 bids were ultimately received for this project. And I believe we have the vendor with us this evening. Resolution number 22, a contract award from the Department of Parks to Blue Ridge Learning Centers, the sole responsible bidder, to provide for inspection, maintenance, equipment, and training of our Treetop Adventure Course, a 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $226,801. This is an as-needed contract. There are hourly rates as part of the contract, as well as for parts and supplies. Resolution 23, Department of Parks contract award to Precision Time System, the sole responsible bidder, provide for maintenance of a park and ride facility, access control, as well as security system at our South Mountain parking deck, 24-month agreement, amount not to exceed $95,000. This is an open-ended contract as needed. Last year, the Department of Parks spent roughly a little over $13,000 for this service. Resolution 24, Department of Parks, Division of Fleet Management, a contract award to the lowest responsible bidder per region for mechanical repairs for Essex County Fleet. 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $200,000. For various brake, engine, fuel system, heating, cooling, electrical, exhaust, steering, oil changes, tire rotation, and tune-ups. Last year we spent roughly, last 2 years was $338,000. Resolution 25, Public Works contract with CETA Construction, the lowest responsible bidder to construct prefabricated timber bridges at Hendricks Golf Course, amount not to exceed $271,155. And Resolution 26, Public Works contract with Smith Sondy Asphalt for paving of roadways, 120-day contract, amount not to exceed $2,014,396. There is a list of roads in your packet for pending paving.
Okay, thank you. All right. Freeholders, let me first, Mr. McInerney, we're going to take them one by one.
Okay, go.
Call on you for each one. First, Resolution 21. No questions?
No.
Mr. Polyvecchio. Freeholders, question, comments on 21? 22?
I have a question on 22.
Yes, Mr. McInerney, on 22 question.
This is a 2-year, what's classified as an open-ended contract. What is the, when open-ended to the extent, how you basically will the vendor bill? What's the mechanism for him to bill in the 24 months of this contract? So not to exceed, but how does he submit an invoice to the?
I'll have Mr. Salvanti come up.
Okay.
Daniel?
Do we have the contractor present, you said? Okay, very good.
This is for 22, correct, Frank?
Yeah, that's
22, yes.
22.
Dave Delvecchio, business manager for Parks.
Would you give me your name again, please?
Excuse me?
Just repeat your name for me.
Dave Delvecchio, from the business manager of Parks.
Okay,
The
continue.
vendor is not here.
Okay.
The vendor comes from North Carolina. The question was?
No, that's,
Okay, you want to explain?
yeah, I asked Dave, what is the mechanism? How will the vendor bill? It's a not to exceed, it's 24 months, it's open-ended, so how does he determine on a monthly basis what his bill will be?
It doesn't come on a monthly basis. He comes in, does this inspection. We pay him for an inspection. Based on what he submits, he gives us a quote on what it should be and whether we think it's the proper thing to do or not. If it is the proper thing to do, he gives us an invoice and we pay it.
Okay, but this also allows him to make it, so he comes in and inspects. If he finds something wrong, he has to submit it to Department of Recreation, Parks and Recreation. And then there's a determination made as to whether or not what he's saying is actually needs to be done or needs to be done to the extent that he says it needs to be done.
Correct.
And then he does the work.
Correct.
Okay. And are there hourly rates applied here, or how does he bill that?
Part of the bill was part of the bill. Was there hourly rate? Yeah, there was an hourly rate for maintenance part of the bid.
Okay.
Who is the person that's standing next to you? I have to, if he's gonna, I have to make sure he.
Yes, ma'am. DJ Salvante, Essex County Parks.
Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is an hourly rate, there is a certain amount allocated to materials. So if, for instance, he needs to, if he comes back with an inspection and he says, I need more materials than what's allocated in the contract for materials, I assume that I would have to come back to the board for an amendment.
That's correct.
Okay. It
And
says here,
just give your name when you answer, since I have two people standing there.
Dave Delvecchio.
Thank you.
because it says here $25,714.29 for assorted materials that may be necessary to complete maintenance and repairs. So any costs in excess of that during the contract term, will be billed at cost plus 50% upon approval by the County of Essex. So so if he goes over what's allocated just for those materials, even though there's still room left in his contract, does he have to come back to the Board of Freeholders if he goes over that? So it's $228,000, roughly $30,000 is allocated for materials, but if he goes to $35,000, does that amend the contract, or does he have the opportunity of using the hours provision of the contract to absorb the materials, the extra materials?
I think I can answer it this way. This is Dave Delvecchio from Parks. The contract is $211,000. He comes in, there's a price for an inspection, then there's prices per quote that he has if there's work to be done.
Right.
And if there's training involved, I believe there's training involved, so he can submit a bill for training if we need the training to do it.
Right.
So as long as what we have is $211,000, I think that's the limit. As long as we don't go over the $211,000, he can submit bills, whether it's training, whether it's maintenance, or whether it's anything else to do. And inspections.
Okay, so then I'm assuming that if he's got a number in here for assorted materials that may be necessary to complete, does that mean he gets the $25,000 regardless of whether he uses or not?
No.
Or not?
No, he has to submit a bill or an invoice
Right.
or quote is what he submits, and then we base it on whether we should do it or not.
I know, but I'm just a little confused as to if it's open-ended, if he can use any part of this $226,000, then why is there's got to be a reason why these amounts are allocated the way they are. $25,000 for assorted materials, $3,975 for equipment or other specialized rentals. Any excess of the $3,975. What I'm curious about, what you're saying is it's all under the 226,801, and yet the contract is saying if you go over these specifics with inside the contract, you got to pay more. Now, does that mean it's in the 226, or it means if it's in the 226, then I don't know why these things are broken out separately. And so that's where
they might be broken. Excuse me. I'm sorry. They might be broken out because the way we put the bid out was based on those quantities so that we can get the lowest bidder.
Okay.
So we put an estimated amount in here and said, here, okay, bid on hourly wages or bid on the maintenance, and whoever came in with the lowest bid, that's the way we would configure it.
Okay.
And then from there, we know who got the lowest bid, and then within that dollar amount or that framework, they should be able to do inspections, maintenance.
Okay, so that explains why the 226 absorbs everything. These were within the specs. This is how he had to respond to it. So we would not see an amendment to the contract if he's still under the 226 and he goes over these specific amounts.
Correct.
Okay, as long as he's within that. The other thing, somewhere I thought it said that he does not include previous work. And I'm trying to see where that says that. I wrote that down on my notes. Do you recall anything? Did he do any previous work for us before?
Put your name on the record again.
DJ Salvante. The previous work was not done through this contractor. This is the contractor works in two separate entities, one being, of course, building entity and the other being a maintenance inspection, a management side of it. So Blue Ridge is separate from Challenge Towers, which is your...
Okay, same owners, but two different contracts.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Alvecchio, any questions?
No.
Freeholders. Freeholder, I saw, Freeholder, Gil, and then I'll come back to Freeholder Clark. Freeholder Gil, did I see your hand? Didn't I see your hands?
Yes, Madam President.
Thank you. Freeholder Gil?
Through you, Madam President, I just had a quick question as to who actually performs the work. So the company's located in North Carolina. They're called to do these inspections. It's their own employees or that come and do these
Yes, Madam President, DJ Salvante, yes, a certified worker from the Blue Ridge Learning Centers will work on the course.
And how long does that, through you, Madam President, how long does that process usually?
Well, typically everything in a perfect world is scheduled. So the maintenance will occur as we have it twice within 1 year, and training the same thing. So that work will be a scheduled period of time. If there's an emergency, the course wouldn't be able to operate because of that emergency. So then we would have to then coordinate them.
Okay, so through you, Madam President, if that's just kind of, so if there's an emergency, someone just has to then travel.
That's included, yeah.
That's included in their costs. Okay.
Freeholder Clark?
Thank you very much. Just out of curiosity, while the discussion has been going on, I simply Googled Blue Ridge Learning Centers. Is this the same company that's at Timberlakes Drive in Todd, North Carolina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you go online and read what I'm reading, then I personally I won't vote for it tonight. I won't vote in the affirmative anyway. I don't think, if it's team building and that sort of thing, which seems to be their forte. Now they also say that they offer a wide range of experiences, of services included but not limited to environmental education, outdoor adventure program, and multi-discipline experiential educational retreats. That doesn't sound like anything like what you just mentioned tonight. So for me, I won't be voting in the affirmative only, and Mr. Chilella, to you, not to be, derisive or anything like that, but this does not seem to be like what I'm thinking that it's about. I was thinking that this is actually a company that is going to talk about maintenance and actually be able to do legitimate authorized inspections to ensure the safety of our treetop and zip line and that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe they have another component to their company, but because there's no one here from their company, and if they want a 2-year contract from us, somebody should have made the trip from North Carolina. And the same, and Mr. Chilella, my rationale is the exact same rationale that I employed, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, with Superintendent of Elections. The person wasn't here to answer any questions about how stuff was done, and so, like I said, no disrespect to you, Danny, no disrespect to you, but I'm voting no on this one.
Freeholder's additional comments?
I got one other comment. What is the receipts from this part of the from this activity at this point?
Sure. At this point, we've never entered into a situation like this. With our previous course, due to the damage that was caused through Superstorm Sandy, that was the end of the first full year of operation. So we weren't even entering into the phase of maintenance, training, and inspection. So it was nearing the end where we would start that process, but it never got.
Okay, I don't think maybe I asked the question incorrectly. What are the revenues that we've generated to date on the tree line?
A little more than $150,000. That's 31 days of operation.
That's on 31 days.
That's just in 31 days.
What was that again? Would you repeat? In
100
31 days, we generated.
31 days of operation, $150,000.
$150,000.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo.
Yeah, thank you. Continuing with Freeholder Clark's questions about the company, how did you decide to go with this company? Or why did you decide to go to this company? And did you look at other companies also?
Sure. The product that we deal with is a product that is kind of separate from a lot of safe rollers. The safe roller product is a product that has been brought in from Switzerland, and it's a product that has a high level of, a low level of use throughout the United States. So this is one of the Northeast region's management of that product. So they have the highest. Going through the manufacturer, they have the highest level of knowledge of it. So they are essentially the leading group that works with this product. And
Do they do this with other treetop?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were continuing.
Do they do the same thing with other similar facilities?
Yes, ma'am.
They do?
Okay, Mr. Scialla?
I think it might clear up something. In the spec itself, it does call for, and they did respond, that for the inspection, you must have and forgive me because I don't know what these initials mean, maybe DJ can answer. They must have a certified ACC inspector, and that inspector is being provided through this contract. So they have the expertise in their bid documents that they submitted. So I believe that part of their business is also inspections as well as maintenance and supplies. And I could just have DJ confirm that.
Right. Would you want to confirm that?
yes, the ACCT standard stands for the Association of Challenge Course Technology. So that's an accreditation, a national accreditation that they hold and carry within a professional affiliation. So.
Well, I know the company is located in South Carolina. South Carolina is not that far.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Even closer.
It's closer. Now it's even closer than South Carolina. And for a $226,000 contract, I would, okay, $226,801.60, am I correct?
That's correct, for 2 years.
For 2 years, but still, we're voting on the $226,000, even though it's 2 years, it's $113,000. So it's the board's policy that whenever a contract goes over $100,000, that vendor have to appear before this board. I just don't feel that we should vote on this contract. We want to make sure we have all the answers. This is a large contract. Do we have any emergencies there at this time why we would need to vote? Do we have any emergencies?
No emergencies at this time, but we are starting on Monday our 7-day operation. So that 31 days, that 150,000 is just operating on a weekend basis. So now that we are increasing the amount of throughput through the course, now all of the things that we need to be maintained and inspected are going to have, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Let me ask one question. Do we have a subsidiary company with this company? So let's say something happens and they're in North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am. So if something happens, well, we would have to then...
You have to notify them, they have to come for the maintenance on it?
They'll have to come and assess the situation. Everything would be preventative, is what we're shooting for, is to prevent anything from stopping the operation and stopping us from ceasing the revenue stream that it's become.
I understand, and that it is important. In summertime, everybody likes to go on the treetop, but I would feel comfortable if we have the vendor to come before the board. Our next meeting, June 25th. It's just a couple of weeks. You said there doesn't appear to be any problems. It's more preventive. I think the board would feel more comfortable. I would rather the board feel comfortable when they're making a decision, and that even if they're voting for or against this contract, either way, they would need to be a little more comfortable on how they would be voting on this particular contract. So, Freeholder Bobadilla, you want to have another, you want to comment on my statement?
No, not exactly on the postponement. I just want to ask a question.
Yes, continue.
My question is, I'm sure there must have been a field survey of accredited companies